Okay, we're gonna finally kind of finish up the some of the Old Testament stuff. The 28th week of Ordinary Time's next week, so we have about 6 weeks left of Ordinary Time before the season of Advent, believe it or not. So we're gonna be moving into Romans next week. Not much said about the book of Joel. Again, one of the minor prophets, giving a message of repentance to the house of Israel. So chapter 1 begins with a prophecy of a plague of locusts. And again, just a book in which God is calling the people back to himself. So like I said, nothing that hasn't been said already in terms of that book. And he kind of compare it to today's gospel, where the people accuse Jesus of, he cast out demons, but it's really by the power of Beelzebul. He was like one of the main demons, arch enemies, in the spiritual life in the Hebrew tradition. And Jesus kind of points out the absurdity. Look, if I'm driving out demons by a demon, like, that doesn't make any sense. A house divided against itself will not fall. And then at the end, he goes into the idea of being ready and being protected, which again kind of coincides with today's first reading. And the sense of repentance, being prepared for the day of the Lord, for when he comes, being ready for God's judgment. And so to tie it in on Friday has always been associated with a day of penance. And I'm sure some of you you're probably all young enough, maybe you don't remember. But we used to fast every Friday. Like every Friday was a day you didn't eat meat, not just during Lent. Believe it or not, the church kind of still holds that. Now, what she's said is that you can eat meat on Fridays, but do some sort of act of penance. Give up dessert or something like that, or don't have a drink, or whatever it is. Talk to Father Miller. That could be an act of penance. You know what I mean? Like those types of things. And so I would just really want to just emphasize the importance of the acts of penance. What do? They're like training. Like a way that a fighter will train, or a boxer will train and work out and get conditioned. Acts of penance helps us to die to ourselves. Something I've been talking about, at least especially in the Sunday masses the last couple of weeks. This whole notion of moving the center of ourselves, where ourselves become the center and focal point of our lives, and everything comes about feeding the ego, and providing pleasure to put to death to that self and embrace really the real self, which is what we're created for, communion with God. And so ourselves, when we finally find ourselves and get our true identity, it's all about in relation to God. Okay, so acts of penance helps us because of sin and because of our wounded condition. We're just so inclined, again, to focus in ourselves. Acts of penance helps us to get ready, helps us to fight evil, and helps us to put ourselves in relation to God. When we give something up or we set something aside, we're telling ourselves spiritually that God is the provider and God is our lover of all things. That our first love is the love of the Blessed Trinity. So between the gospel and the first reading, and the call to repentance, may we also take up seriously, especially today on a Friday, the day of the Lord's Passion, to do some sort of act of penance, and to help us, to train us, to think more of ourselves in relation to God than just ourselves alone. May God bless you.